Hey everybody, welcome back to Prototech or Bust. I am the Ghost Cat, and I'll be your guide for this little adventure. The Contact expansion is just released. I just finished watching the live stream, so now the race is on. We've got to go get some of those blocks. We've got to get them fast. But first, we've got some stuff we've got to deal with here. If you remember last time, we got ourselves a nice little starter base built. However, our little travel craft is on its side. So I think my first order of business is going to be to maybe flop this thing over and try to re-engineer it into a slightly better scout craft so we can fly around and scout out new materials. But not only that, we can go and scout out some of those new planetary encounters that the Contact expansion has brought with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I don't know if I want to try to flop this thing over or if I just want to start scrapping it out. I think I'm going to grind down this passenger seat and throw some kind of proper control seat in there, just so I don't have to do the remote control bootstrap each time. I'm going to get us some materials going so we have some, at least the materials we need to place and frame out blocks so we can get them selected and into the build planner. Grab myself some steel plates. Some interior plates should be a good start. And now we will put a helm on here.
Energy low.
Apparently the helm doesn't want to go on here. I'll clear out some of these. Although one thing I should really do, now that I've got an assembler, something I had forgotten to do, is I should build myself some better tools. I imagine I have the components. No, I only need one. One of those, and one of those. I've always wondered why. For instance, the first upgraded tier, the grinder and the drill are both blue, but the welder's red. Something that it's always kind of made me wonder what the rationale behind that was.
Energy critical.
Energy critical. I better go refuel my energy. Top off on all my precious juices and get everything good to go. Although, it looks like the sun's starting to go down, so sun is definitely dropping towards the horizon. We better get some lights built before it gets too terribly dark. And that way I won't be solely reliant on my suit lights, which is something that can sometimes be a little, I don't know, just, it can make it a little difficult to see when all you have is a couple of lights shining off the sides of your face. Things tend to pop out of nowhere sometimes. Alright, let's place our helm block. Sun's going down and we've got a storm coming in, it looks like. The air's starting to get hazy. Before too long we may not be able to see anything. Let's see if we can get this thing flipped over on its side. Alright, let's see if we can get this thing flipped over on the right side and not on the wrong side. And there you have it. We're at least mostly right way up, even if we're still sitting without any landing gear. I think the first thing I'm going to do is, well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to keep this as my little scout craft. I might as well. All I really have to do is slap a couple of side thrusters on each side and we'll be good to go. And then this way, no matter what we do, we will always at least have a source of oxygen and hydrogen if I get stranded somewhere, if I should I crash this beyond repairability. At the moment, I'm waiting for the components to be built for my lateral thrusters. So I think I'm going to pop a couple lights on here using the new floodlights from the Contact DLC. There, now we got ourselves a little bit of light. I also built the lateral thrusters, our little scout craft that used to be our landing pod. Well, folks, I just went to grab the components I needed to build my landing gear back up, and we are out of iron. So I am short one motor to even have a single landing gear. So I'm going to have to find a motor I can scavenge for a moment, and then we're going to have to go and get ourselves some iron. Well, it doesn't really matter. We're not currently refining. We're actually going to give ourselves the one landing gear. We'll put everything back here. When we come back and land, we'll take motors from one of the thrusters. Alright, so it looks like we're going to fly around with a single landing gear in the dark when we can't see anything and go try to get some iron. I imagine that's our friendly neighborhood iron deposit. Oh, there's the ground. Wow. I almost landed right in the iron hole. I'm going to turn on my suit lights and I will run down and grab some iron. Alright, we've got a full load of iron. Let's head our way back to the base. Oh, we can see the light shining, guiding us home. Would you look at that? When you have lateral thrust, you can travel without crashing. It's an amazing thing, folks. You gotta love it. Did I turn the refinery off? Yes, I did. Alright, there she goes. I wonder if we would have had the iron we needed. Probably not. I don't think we had any ore in there. But in any event, folks, it's dark. And while my namesake can see in the dark, I cannot. So I'm gonna take a nap, and we will see you folks in the morning. Good morning, folks, and here we are again. The dawn is just starting to lighten the sky. The sun's getting ready to come up. And I thought I might make some modifications to our craft here. Try to slim her up a bit. First things first, we need to clear out some of this junk inside. Might have been useful when it was a landing pod, but at the moment it's not serving any of our purposes. It is merely taking up space. Drop that off there. Grind this down. Is there anything in here? No. Alright. We will grind you down. Weld up some of these blocks that are a bit dinged up from our rather rapid encounter with the planet. Alright. The core is cleared out. I kind of want to use the new cockpit block. Let's see, she looks like she'll fit. However, it looks like I might need something to support it with to get it to stick out as far as I'd like it to. So I'll slap some bracing out here, and there we go. Get this welded up real quick. There is a chance we may be out of silicon. No, we have silicon. We will just need to first make sure the refinery is making iron. Iron is a higher priority than the cobalt. We'll get that made. At least enough to get what we need. We'll put these components into production. Alright. Gonna do some streamlining here. We will take the edges off of this. Oops, that wasn't the plan. Suppose I should have paid attention when it told me grinding that block was going to disconnect something. However, I did not, and here we are. That's fine, I'd planned on repositioning those anyway. Just not quite yet. Alright, let's see if the components we need for our cockpit are ready. Cannot withdraw the bulletproof glasses, but that's probably because my inventory is full. Alright. Let's check this thing out. This is my first time seeing this cockpit. This is fantastic. I really like the look of this. Good visibility. This is going to make for some excellent combat vehicles later on. Wonderful. So now that we're getting these sides trimmed down, we're going to need to reposition our thrusters. I think I might stick the forward and reverse thrusters up on the top along this line. Hopefully I don't grind anything out. That's going to mean adding an extra forward and an extra reverse thruster to keep the symmetry, but or maybe I'll just do two forward thrusters here and do my reverse thrusters tucked in above the cockpit here. I think I like that idea. So let's get our thrusters. And we will pop these in here. And then we will get our forward thrust. Tuck these in here.
Fuel low.
Oh, my fuel is low, and it will soon be critical.
Fuel critical.
Since they let you know you have low fuel when you're basically out of fuel, but that makes it fun and interesting, don't you know? Alright. So we will grind this out. This is going to mean also repositioning our ore detector. However, that shouldn't be a problem. Alright, we'll put this thruster back on here. And we will get these thrusters welded up. Alright, so we've got the thrusters mostly welded up. I just need to grab a few more motors. Still can't draw 5 and 2. Are we running low on something? We are low on iron and nickel. Alright, so it looks like we will be called to action in this little guy a little earlier than previously thought. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of wiggling and jiggling. And we're going to have to break down a couple of these thrusters so that we have one forward, one reverse, and then our lateral thrust. But then we can go get some iron and get some nickel and get the show back on the road. Alright, we are off. Let's go over, I believe there was some nickel over by the iron. Although I did grind down our ore detector, so we will have to run around and look for it manually. Should be over here somewhere. currently running with only one lateral thruster per side, so she definitely drifts a bit, I noticed. Alright, let's find us some nickel. There's a nickel. Where did you go, nickel? There you are. Alright, let's go get us some nickel first. And there we are, sweet, sweet nickel. Gotta get some while we're here. Well, folks, here we are again. This is starting to be a pattern here. I really need to get a better landing gear set up. Or just learn how to land. At least I went and got some iron and nickel so I can craft the components to repair this after I refine these materials. Yeah, stone really wants to be in the backpack, so he's getting refined. Whoa, I do not know how long that has been there, but that is one of the new global encounters. It is an unidentified signal 4,200 kilometers away. We are not in a position just yet to go and find that, but I'm hoping today to do some scouting and maybe find some of the new planetary encounters. We shall see. Alright, let's see if we can roll her over again. Alright, we have successfully rolled her back over again. I'm gonna run and grab some fuel, and we'll get this thing back in the air and get that third landing gear on her, and maybe I can quit crashing her into the ground. Well, folks, here we are. This is what I've done to our little scout vehicle that used to be the landing pod. We've got a lot more lifting thrust, so hopefully I don't smack into the ground. We've got some lateral thrust. I'm still not quite happy with the placement of these, but actually I can pop these on the sides of our connector here. This way they're tucked in a little bit and they're not sticking off the back end like warts. One thing that was kind of driving me a little bit nuts while I was building this is the time it was taking to actually get components built. I need a proper assembler. So, what I'm gonna do, let's see, where do I want to put this assembler? Wanted to put the assembler and refinery back here somewhere. Can put this here. I think I'm just going to use a standard conveyor junction here. Then I will stick my assembler on top of there. But one thing I'm going to do in the interim is get this welder ready to weld up the assembler for me. Pop the assembler right on here. We'll get this welder built up. Knock that down quick so that our ingredients, well, components, don't end up going there instead of the assembler. And then we will come over here and we will turn this welder on and she'll start welding up for us. Now we just have to wait for all the components to get made. So while this does that, I'm going to go and do some exploring. Well, first I'm going to go grab a load of iron, and just so it doesn't run out while we're out and about. Actually, she just stopped sparking. I wonder what we're out of. I have a feeling production has been stalled by a lack of, it says iron, nickel, and cobalt. We have cobalt processing, we have some nickel, but we need iron. So I'm gonna go get a load of iron, and then hopefully we can get a move on. I'm going to do some mining, and I'll be back with y'all in a bit. Wow, she's feeling pretty heavy. Let's go drop this stuff off, and then maybe we can go do some exploring looking for some of these new planetary encounters. Wow, she does not want to slow down. We also might need to set up a recharging solution pretty quick here. Ooh, I almost smacked the ground and I barely touched descent. Let's get this stuff into the refinery, shall we? While I'm here, I might as well recharge my oxygen bottle. I would hate to run out of oxygen while I'm flying around. I still would like to get some more power into here. What would it take to build a connector? Where? There they are. When they released the update, they rearranged a lot of the groupings of where things were. They make a whole lot more sense, however, I'm still not used to them. Why is taking production so long? Still saying no iron. Why is it? It's refining the cobalt first. Put the iron in the front. Get that going. Then we can get the assembler going. We can get our other assembler welded up and things will be great. Alright, the sun is slowly headed for the horizon, so we're going to go and do some exploring really quick before we lose all the daylight. Take our little jankety mobile. Still haven't decided what to call her. And let's head, we'll go south for a ways and see what we find. We've got about 20 minutes of flying at full forward thrust. Keep an eye on the landscape. Looking for anything unusual. And I figure we'll fly out to about 10 kilometers and then kind of circle. See if we can find any planetary encounters of any type. We may have to end up going further, but for now I think 10 kilometers is good. Daylight is limited. Anything we find, I probably won't be in a position to do anything about quite yet anyway. I have yet to find magnesium, although I imagine one of these spots will have some magnesium for me. One definite thing about the vanilla planets is they do not lack resources. Almost 8 kilometers. I am not seeing anything. I'm going to start my turn. This scouting expedition may prove to be fruitless, but one thing I wanted to do is try to find some of these new planetary encounters. I've been using the modular encounters system mod extensively for some time to fill out the worlds a little bit, so the introduction of some new vanilla content that does just that is quite exciting. Nope, that's just a rock. I thought I saw a grid out of the corner of my eye. Starting to get a little closer than our 10-kilometer distance, but still nothing. This is a rather pleasant landscape. Admittedly, some people might not agree, but they did a really good job catching the desolation I've always imagined would be experienced by a traveler on Mars. At least one on a Mars that hasn't been terraformed or really developed as some of the science fiction stories have it. As some of the science fiction stories have it. Well, I've discovered something. A supply post. Let's go see what we have here. Well, this is something. It's more than there was before. I don't know what we're gonna find, so. But it looks like they're at least neutral. If they were hostile, I don't think there's much we could do, since Yes, I don't even have my sidearm on me. I've spent too long out in the wastes. Whoa. I've entered a restricted area. I must leave immediately. What if I don't leave? Will they get angry? I just want to be friends. Let's see what you got going on. Looks like a storm's coming in. Might I shelter at your port? Would you look at that? No wonder they're parked here. They're right by some ice. Let's go see what's going on. Interior turret. Some of these fantastic new floodlight blocks they've put into the game. I'm quite fond of these. Access denied. What about here? Access denied. I don't want to grind my way through the door and anger these people. I can see some stuff in there. I bet there's some goodies. I see a cargo container. I'll have to come back here and maybe get to know these people a little better, become a little more friendly with them, or decide that piracy is the way to go. Who knows? But we'll remember where these people are. Well, I can't fly, and apparently I can't spell either. But we've got a bookmark, whatever a deopt is, a supply deopt. I'm gonna hide that real quick. And let's probably should head back to the base. The sun's going down, it's gonna get dark, and it's gonna become impossible to really see anything, so let's get up. Start heading back for home. Well, that was kind of exciting. My very first vanilla planetary encounter. Luckily, it wasn't someone who tried to shoot me down, so they did warn me out of their space, however, so maybe in the future I will have conflict with the ROCGs, whoever they are. Speaking of which, I should come up with my own faction. Just so I've got a flag to fly and people know who we are. Well, who I am. As of yet, there is just the one of me, but who knows? Maybe in the future, we'll find more. That certainly is a beautiful view, don't you think? Since we're chasing the sun somewhat. It's almost a reverse sunset over the hills. You might call it a sunrise. However, if we sit here, we'll be able to watch the sunset over this beautiful scene. There she goes, slowly drifting down below the horizon. Let's get back to our base, get this craft parked and on the ground, and see if our assembler has been built yet, or see if we're out of something that we're going to need to go and hunt for. And here we are, home sweet home. There's our assembler. We did it. Let me turn this welder off so I don't electrocute myself. Fantastic. Now we have a proper assembler. We can move some stuff over from the... Oh, that's right. She's not connected yet. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. First thing I want to do is get this connector set up on the end here. Even if it's only here for a minute until we build a proper refinery. One way or the other, we need some way to charge up our craft. All the rest of the components we need building, and we will get this going. Alright, there we go. That is the new inset connector from the Contact DLC. So I'm gonna hook my flyer up to this and we can get our battery charging. Nose up, coming on in. And there we have connection. Well, we have contact. Give me a second. We are going to switch lock. And we are connected. Let's get our battery charging and get this little scout craft ready for a full day of scouting once the sun comes back up. Oh, which battery is mine? I never went through and properly named things. It is battery. Battery 2 is the station battery. Alright. Set this for recharge on and off. Get her charging. Fantastic. Well, folks, that's going to be it for today. Didn't get as much done as I had hoped, but that's how it goes sometimes. Next time, we'll get that full refinery built, as well as do a whole lot more exploring and go find some more of those planetary encounters and maybe find some Prototech bits. Who knows? Well, y'all have a great week, and I'll see you next time.